happy Black Friday and good afternoon, everybody.
Ooh.
I'm Ethan Greenberg, and joining me is Nate Bope. This is Going Nuclear, and we are here for a special preview of the game. The game. I don't know what other game it could be, Nate, but it's
No, the
game.
people know.
They do. If you know, it's what is that? The IFYKYK. If you know, you know.
Yep. If you know, you know.
There it is. There it is. So, Nate, thank you for joining me here on
Sure.
Friday as we are going to chat it up here. A special edition of Going Nuclear, talking a little bit about the Ohio State Michigan game that is coming up tomorrow at 12 o'clock from Ann Arbor. Nate, I guess lead it off. What are your initial thoughts about this season and this game?
Well, I mean,
give me your initial thoughts.
you are very dangerous at giving me the floor right away because how much time you got. We could, I think, break this thing down forever because there's so much to talk about. I mean, I really just quite plain and simple. This is going to be a fun game. I know everybody's stressed, everybody's hyped up on both sides. You get the sense that, I mean, one side, one fan base, probably going in a lot more confident than the other. But this really is going to be a fantastic game. You got two teams, again, just hate each other. And we're going to break down stats and records and everything. Yeah, you can pretty much throw all of that out the window because it never matters with games like this. But it's our job. That doesn't mean that we can't sit here and talk about it. This is going to be a fantastic game. I'm really nervous for Saturday, but there's really just a ton to break down. There's so much.
There absolutely is. I mean, I think the reason we're nervous, I don't think this would be an understatement to say that obviously having lost 4 consecutive games in this rivalry matchup, and especially last year, how bad that stung at the time. And so we're still, even though they won the national championship last year, you're still kind of bit by that because they were Ohio State was a heavy favorite in Columbus last year. And it appeared that Ryan Day, for whatever reason, had a brain fart and decided that he had to prove his manliness by trying to run the ball instead of throwing the ball, which was the strength of the Buckeyes at last year. And they ran right into the teeth of the Michigan defense instead of airing it out. I'm just not sure what the thought process was there. But how much do you think having being on this losing streak on the losing streak on the Ohio State side of things has increased the anxiety and the angst?
To be perfectly honest with you, that's the thing I'm very curious to find out. And I'll probably say this multiple times throughout this little short show, there's a different look in this team's eye. There's a different look in Ryan Day's eye. There's a different look in the player's eye. And even the new coaching staff, the new offensive and defensive coordinator, there's just a different look and a different feel than going into last year. It was just like, okay, last year, you got the sense and the way people kept talking about it. It was just, while it was still important, it maybe wasn't as important as some people may want it to be. It feels that way this year. This feels like such an important game. And this just feels like a game that they're going to be way more ready to play it.
Right. And we haven't heard, folks, I haven't heard, Nate, have you heard any updates other than official updates about the health of Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate? I know Jeremiah Smith went on a podcast. He was on the Downs to Business with Caleb and Josh Downs and said he was going to be good to go. But certainly that's not an official game status delivered from Ohio State, delivered from the staff, Ryan Day, etc. What do you think is going on there, and how important will it be to have one or both of them on the field?
Well, I'll have it swing both ways here. Of course, for the Buckeyes, you want Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate on that field because we've seen over the past couple of weeks, there are times where Julian Sayin does not have the chemistry with Bryson Rogers. There are times where Mylan Graham looks lost, and Brandon Inniss is just not the wide receiver I think that we all think he can be. At least he hasn't shown it. if Smith and Tate, God forbid, cannot go, both of them, it's got to be nuCLEar. nuCLEar, much like that Rutgers game, has got to step up into that limelight, much like you've seen with some of the Michigan tight ends in years prior. Now, I don't think we're going to get anything official until 11:30, if not 12:01. Like, we're going to get nothing official at all. However, we can speculate based on what the different camps have said. So let's start with the Buckeyes. CJ Donaldson played a little bit last week. I'm not worried about him. I think he's going to be good to go. Let's just get that out of the way. Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate. That's what everybody wants to know. Jeremiah Smith says he's going to be good to go, and it's his birthday, by the way. Carnell Tate, I listened to that episode of Downs to Business and listened really, really hard. You get the sense that Carnell Tate is working really, really well. And this is as official as it's going to get for right now. I believe it was Wednesday. Ryan Day publicly said everybody was full go in pads and they looked fantastic. So, as far as we know, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, they will see game action today. And even if they are not 100%, 70% of Jeremiah is enough to make you respect any sort of ball that comes his way. Same thing with Carnell Tate. And it just throws that wrench in that game plan of, hey, can the Buckeyes finally play to their strengths this year? Now, I said I would make it go both ways, and I am. Michigan has got some concerns with their strength, the rushing game. We know Justice Haynes had tightrope surgery not too long ago. There are little tiny rumbles that he may give it a go, kind of like a Blake Corum situation. I've mentioned that a couple times to some family and friends, and they've said, "You're crazy." I said, no, I'm not. Watch Justice Haynes give this thing a go. And then Jordan Marshall is a little bit banged up in there. So like the Buckeyes have their top two receivers down, their biggest threat offensively. Michigan's got their top two running backs not feeling 100%. Now, for what my money is worth, I think Jordan Marshall's going to play in this game. Justice Haynes, we'll wait and see. That's very, I would call that a long shot. But again, there are little rumbles and reports that he might try to give it a go. Otherwise, if the Michigan's going to need Bryce Underwood to make plays with his legs, period.
Right. And I think that in years past, I would worry more about a running quarterback than I am this year specifically. Seems like we've got the right personnel to handle that and the right type of defensive mentality out there. It will be very interesting also. Let's just say Ohio State is full strength, has their full complement of receivers. How do you think the weather is going to impact the passing game? Are they going to have to do more, not so much over the top per se, but getting things going like slants and crosses, where again the offense has if the field condition is poor, there might be snow. The offensive player has the advantage. They know the route. The defensive player doesn't. And when you have elite wide receivers like that, you can still have huge gains, even on a shorter pass. It doesn't have to be over the top. How do you see that playing out?
Well, let's play it out in this way, right? Let's take a look at the way both of these teams want to play this game. How they, well, maybe not how they want, because we'll figure that out on Saturday, but how they should play this game. Ohio State's got to utilize that passing attack. You have the best quarterback in the country, especially in terms of completion percentage. This is going to be a hostile road environment. How does Julian Sayin handle the pressure of the rivalry game? And how much snow do you get? Do you actually get snow? Now, I would probably believe that there's going to be some snow, but it is still the Midwest. You never know how accurate that weather report is going to be. I'm not saying the meteorologists are wrong, but there's probably going to be some snow, okay? There's probably going to be some snow, and it's going to be cold. So Buckeyes got to be able to use that passing attack. I do think you're going to see a lot of short routes, stuff to, at very least at the beginning, get Julian Sayin comfortable, right? Here is the battle. I believe the Buckeyes are going to come out guns blazing. I have said it all season long. This is a team that is barely inched into their fourth gear. They have so much waiting in the wings, and so many aces up their sleeves. It's insane. They have to, because if that is all that we're getting out of this team, wait till we get to the college football playoff. This team could get embarrassed. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but those aces in the sleeve, they've got to come out. And maybe not all of them, because Ryan Day's planned this season very well. He's going to save a couple things for when they actually get into the playoff race. But you got to start pulling some stuff out here. Here's the problem with trying to be aggressive right away. It can really help you. You get up 14-0, 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. That thing's probably already over. Michigan cannot play Ohio State's game. They just can't. Michigan plays from behind. It's going to be a long day for the people in Ann Arbor. But you try to take a shot down the field. Ball slips out of your hand because of the snow. You throw a pick. Michigan set up on the 35-yard line. They go down and score. Okay, Buckeyes go 3 and out the next drive. Michigan rips off a 75-yard run. Bam, you're suddenly down 14-0. Worst case scenario. I mean, worst case scenario. So you got to be careful. I think the Buckeyes are going to pull out all the stops early, but you've got to be able to get Julian Sayin at the very least comfortable. Now, I know I'm talking a lot, but let's flip it over to the other side.
All right.
Michigan is going to try to be physical, right? They're going to try to run the football. I got a ton of stats up in front of me. It's everything from offensive stats, defensive stats, even metrics. And Michigan only beats Ohio State in one category. That's rushing yards per game and rushing yards per carry. That's the only thing that statistically they are better than the number one team in the country at. The only thing. And this is exactly how Michigan has played it before. And here is the thing about this rivalry. Since 2001, whichever team has the most rushing yards wins the game. Don't care if it's by 1 or by 100. Every single time, the team that runs the football better has won the game. Now, like Michigan cannot play Ohio State's game. Ohio State can play Michigan's game. They can be physical. They can run the football, but it is by no means their best shot. Take a look at the way that the Buckeyes have run the football the past 2 weeks. Now, that is against way inferior defensive fronts, but there's a point to the way that Ryan Day has called these games. This is very psychological. This is giving this rushing game some confidence. And Bo Jackson, I think, is going to be a problem for this Michigan front. I really do. I think he's going to be a problem. Ohio State can play Michigan's game, but Michigan's shot is to muck this thing up. If they muck this thing up and there are some early turnovers and some early jitters and butterflies, Ohio State is on the disadvantage, especially with the home crowd backing the maize and blue. But if Ohio State comes out and blitzes and they look sharp early, Michigan's not touching them.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the statistics, and I looked at that rushing statistic for Michigan, and it all goes back to winning in the trenches. And that's where Ohio State has gotten really beaten down, especially the past few years, where they can't win in the trenches. And this offensive line, in as much as you said, they've run better the past couple weeks, but again, against inferior opponents. I know this is not the same Wolverines defensive front that they've had the past couple of years, but it doesn't mean that they're not great, very good. It doesn't mean that they're not very good. And I have questions about the run blocking. It's been a bit concerning throughout the season. You don't want to become pass only and pass happy and abandon the run game. But again, just trying to stuff it over and over and over again. I don't like that method either, as we saw last year. That just was something wasn't right last year. Now, what do you think about Michigan defense? Where do you see their strengths? Is it the run defense? Is it tell me what does Wink Martindale have them doing really, really superior this season?
Well, I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I want to start with the fact that Michigan looks like they're going to be down a player at every significant level of that defense. Ernest Hausman, one of the best linebackers in the country for my money, is hurt. Doesn't look like he's going to play. Rod Moore, the safety that made the game-winning interception 2 years ago when the Buckeyes were quarterbacking Kyle McCord, he's already officially been ruled out. He is the leader of that back end. He is the leader of that secondary. So Michigan's going to be down a couple pieces defensively. But Wink Martindale is an NFL mind. Much like Matt Patricia has got this Buckeye defense flying all over the field, and you got your split man zone coverage in the same defensive play, disguising all these different pressures. Wink Martindale can do the exact same
Yep.
thing. And it's a defense that Ohio State just has not seen as far as the confusion and the mixing up different packages. Both of these defensive coordinators run multiple defense. Now, Wink Martindale runs a little bit more in system than Matt Patricia does, meaning that he doesn't mix up the multiple looks as much as Matt Patricia does, but it's still there and it's still prevalent. Michigan, much like I just said, 10 minutes ago, Ohio State's going to have the things in their sleeves to try to pull out. So will Michigan. And it's got to come defensively. You've got to find a way to get Julian Sayin on the ground. You just have to. And yes, no Ernest Hausman, no Rod Moore. This defense is going to be physical. This defense is going to play really, really well. And this defense is going to be disciplined. Now, one thing that I'm shocked, and I actually don't think I have this up here, I'd be curious to see where turnover margin sits for both of these teams, because the Buckeye defense has been doing all of this greatness without forcing a whole lot of turnovers.
No, they have not. I don't have it pulled up, but I'll yammer. If you want to look, I'll yammer a little bit here while we look, because one of the topics we want to get to, or I'd like to touch on real quick, is what the potential downfall or upside of winning or losing this game is. If you're Ohio State at this point, you are number one in the nation, undefeated. If you were to lose this game and potentially not make it to the Big Ten championship, is that a good thing, a bad thing? Either, does it matter? Are you going to fall out of the top four and not receive a first round bye? What do we think of that? If you do win the game, then are you going all out at the Big Ten championship? Or are you feeling like, hey, we can rest some guys. We are guaranteed a top four spot and a bye in the first round. It's tough to have that extra game. I know it's a moneymaker, but it seems to me at some juncture, they may should or could get rid of these conference title games, because it is an extra game it's kind of a penalty. It's kind of a penalty. If you've played your way that well and you're lined up to be in, I know there's going to be a time like last year was Clemson snuck in by beating SMU in the ACC championship, and then SMU still got in. But for most times, when you've reached the conference title game, you've got teams that are already they're good enough. They should be in the CFP to start. And so is it really kind of a penalty to have to play an extra game?
Not if it earns you a first round bye.
Right. That's true. And so different scenarios will play out, but it's also an extra game in which you could get injured.
I don't know about you, but I know Ryan Day and this coaching staff, 3 goals every year. You beat the team up north, you win the Big Ten championship game, you win the national championship.
Yep.
I don't think they care about playing the extra game. And the way that Ryan Day has done this season out, I think we talked about this on Going nuCLEar a week or two ago. They legitimately have already played 1 fewer game in terms of snaps than their opponents have. It's been crazy. The way that this team has controlled the pace, controlled the clock, has been fantastic.
Absolutely. So it's something to think about. I at the end of the day, I'm looking at it, and certainly I want Ohio State to win this game. I want them to win the Big Ten championship. It's just one of those things that you want to think about.
Oh, sure. Worth talking about.
It's fodder. It's a discussion point. One way or there's no right answer there. Were you able to find out anything on?
I was.
What were you able to find out? You're sleuthing.
So, Michigan doesn't even beat the Buckeyes in turnover margin. Ohio State's +5 on the year. Michigan is +4. Now, here is the caveat. Michigan has turned the football over 5 more times than the Buckeyes this year.
Okay.
They forced 6 more turnovers.
Yeah, it's very interesting. What do you make that? What do you make of that? And why is that? Is it simply that Ohio State doesn't maybe get as many strips? I don't know. How many interceptions, how many fumble recoveries? I'd like to know for Michigan.
I legitimately have to believe that it's this team. I just don't think it's being as aggressive as they could. You know, a lot of times they're sitting back in zone when the game is already won.
That's true.
And the Buckeyes, you take a look at most of the games this year at halftime, it's been runaways, and they haven't needed that big turnover. Now, as far as the margins and stuff go, again, it literally you just have to see how it plays out on Saturday. Neither one of these defenses is stellar at forcing turnovers. Both of these offenses have been pretty solid at holding on to the football for the most part, besides Michigan in that game against Northwestern. Boy, that
Right.
was dreadful.
It was. And I think that Ohio State is very much they've got to force Underwood to be. If we were talking about it, I might be skipping ahead. I think for Ohio State, if you're talking about what do they need to do defensively to win, you hit on it. They need to force Bryce Underwood to beat them in the air. They need to force him to beat them in the air. And if they've gotten it to that point where because they're trailing, because the rushing attack isn't working, they'll be in good shape. I'm having flashbacks though, Nate, to 2020, what is it, 23 or 22 at the Horseshoe when they ripped off multiple 75-yard plays on us on
Runs.
runs. And you when you mentioned that earlier, I just started having PTSD.
Yeah, don't blame you.
that was brutal. And I don't know.
I want to cut you off there because that's exactly what Michigan's done this year. Michigan, I feel like we should start getting into some of these matchups here. Michigan is very good about lulling you to sleep. They're not flashy on the ground game for the most part. They'll get, okay, 3-yard run, 4-yard run. Oh, there's a 7-yard run, 2, 3, 2, 1, bam, 80-yarder. I mean, it comes out of nowhere. They are very good about lulling you to sleep, and their offensive line is fantastic in their blocking scheme. However, what I will say, Buckeyes got 2 dogs in the linebacking room, Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese. I get the feeling that when they try to bring pressure here, they're going to try to bring some stuff from the outside. Now, this is purely speculation, and I mean, maybe what I would even like them to see, but bring in some corner blitzes, if you will, and kind of you have to have at least one of Styles and Reese to sit and wait to see if someone breaks out into the second level, whether that be Jordan Marshall, whether that be Justice Haynes, if he gives it a go, especially if it's Bryce Underwood. And it's what this team did so well once they figured it out at containing DeMond Williams and Washington. Yes. That is the most mobile quarterback they have seen all year. And as soon as they figured it out, it took one drive, but as soon as they figured it out, Williams didn't do anything.
No, he absolutely didn't. That although I think Underwood is better than DeMond Williams, but that's even arguable. There, DeMond Williams also is undersized. He's a bit small, relatively speaking. I don't know. I hope these guys are focused and really have their eye on the prize, but they're also relaxed because it seems like they've been so tight wound. How much do you think Ryan Day's general attitude and demeanor can dictate the feeling in the locker room?
Well, like I said, I fully believe, and just look at it there was a minute left against Rutgers, and Ryan Day is screaming on the sideline, job's not done, game's not over, what do you do? Like, get your ass out there. Like, come on, do something. There's a different feel. There's a different look. Caleb Downs, this team was already up 20 plus on Rutgers, and Caleb Downs was pissed on the sideline. I mean, hot pissed. I think having that different look in the eye, having that different level of intensity, while it may not have shown itself, you're a moron if the Buckeyes have not passed your eye test. This team has absolutely passed the eye test. And if you think that this is all the Buckeye team is going to give us this year, you're insane. There just has to be more. There's got to be more. There's got to be more that you can give. There's got to be more plays that you have waiting and sitting. There is, and I can't tell you what it is, whether it's a rub route, whether it's some trick play, which I doubt it is, whatever. Buckeyes got some sort of gas, and the way that I equate this Buckeye team is this team is a Lamborghini. You got the two top receivers in the country. Bo Jackson's a stud freshman. You can go 4 deep in the running back room. A quarterback that, if everything pans out, he's going to break the completion percentage record for the entirety of college football ever. But it's a Lamborghini that can hit 8th gear and has a NOS booster on the back. And they've gotten half that far.
Wow. I like the I like the analogy. That is very well stated. Okay. Before we get to our game predictions, one thing that I was just telling you before we started, I was out at a local place. I'm down in Richmond, Virginia, and went to pick up some dinner at a restaurant down the road and ran into multiple Ohio State / Cleveland people. And the first group of people I ran into, the guy was like talking about if they don't win this game, he wants Ryan Day. Or they said he'd be fired or would be fired. I said, well, who's they? He said, well, me. I said, but what if they win the national championship? I don't care. So I know there's a lot of debate about that. I just want your take on it. I know last year, I'll admittedly say, I was so frustrated before that playoff run. I felt like, look, you are pulling a John Cooper here, losing to teams that you have no business losing to. And I was pissed and wanted him out. But, Ryan Day, that is. But obviously, they stuck with him and they win a national championship. So he has earned a lot of a leeway and a longer leash with Buckeye Nation, with the Buckeye fans, et cetera, and the school. If they were to lose, I guess, what would you say to those people who are like, he should be fired? You lost this game. Taking into consideration the day and age we're in with the college football playoff, as opposed to long ago, again, going back to the John Cooper days where one loss and you were hosed. Did I stump you?
No,
Speechless.
81-10. You have any idea what that is?
That's his record.
That's his record, people. If he were to call it a career right now, he's the winningest head coach in college football history. You're insane. You're nuts. He beats everybody he's supposed to beat. Sure, let's front Michigan aside for a second, exclude them from the conversation. With the exception of Missouri in the Cotton Bowl, he had a banged up squad. He's beaten everybody that he should. Period. End of story. And you saw last year, he can win the big moments. He can win the big game. It's fired him up. He's got a new look in his eye. The accomplished feeling is there. And look, man, no chance in hell. Okay. Even if they lose this game, they're still going to the college football playoff and they're still going to be one of the favorites to win the national championship. It's going to suck. Let's not.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let's not just kick everything to the curb, sweep everything. It's going to suck.
Yeah, absolutely.
You thought last year was bad? Wait and see if they lose this year. It's going to be horrendous.
It would be very, very bad. I don't want to even think about that. So we're going to not put that negative energy out there. Certainly, again, things have changed. It is vastly different, taking into consideration the current state of college football, and where one loss doesn't kill you, you're still going to be in the college football playoff, and it's all good. But let's wait. It is what it is. So, Nate, I know, let's see, we're just doing a quick one here today. Nate, ultimately, in your heart of hearts, what's your game prediction? No scores necessary. We don't do over-unders here. We're not gambling. But just what does your heart and your head tell you about tomorrow's game? Who wins it? Is it close? Is it a blowout?
For those of you that do, 9.5 right now to the Buckeyes, and 43.5 is that over/under.
Okay.
For the people that do care.
All right. That is fair enough.
Okay. Let's break this all down, shall we?
Go right ahead, sir.
Let's just go position by position. All right. Quarterback. You got two young guys here that are getting their first taste of this rivalry. Technically second for Julian Sayin.
Right.
Kind of. But Julian Sain's the better quarterback than Bryce Underwood. Now, what I will tell you about both of these guys is they don't get phased. Neither of these guys get phased at all. And both of them have some really talented pieces around them. Running back room. You got to give Michigan the edge even without Justice Haynes, just because of their offensive line blocking scheme,
Sure.
the way that their offense is structured, so on and so forth. However, being able to go 4 deep in this running back room will be important for Ryan Day and company. I already told you I think Bo Jackson's going to be a problem. Good luck trying to stop CJ Donaldson in a go-to-go scenario. James Peoples has now shown the explosive tendency for the past couple of weeks, something that he's been missing out. And I've been pleasantly surprised with Isaiah West. Now, again, who's to say who gets more carries than the other? It's going to depend on how the game flows. But both teams got really good running backs. And I would think that Jordan Marshall is going to play in this game. I don't really have much of a doubt about that. Wide receiver room, obvious edge to the Buckeyes, okay? Jeremiah Smith, I'm just going to tell you right now, Smith and Tate, no way that they're not playing. And if that comes back to bite me, so be it. There is no way that they are missing this game. And Brandon Inniss, I think, is better when you have Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate on the field. nuCLEar, I think, is better. Watch Michigan try to body up and lock down Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, and Julian Saint's going to rip the seam with nuCLEar on a one-on-one. He will win that battle. nuCLEar, at the beginning of the year, he has not gotten the production that I think many thought he would. He is going to be that guy, that X factor, that, look, if you just need a gutsy catch, rip the seam with nuCLEar, man. It's going to be there. It's going to be there. What I will say for Michigan's wide receivers, while the position grouping is at an obvious disadvantage, boy, I tell you what, they have got some guys that have really figured it out. And this passing attack has come to life. I'm specifically talking about the freshman, Andrew Marsh. Here's what he's done in his past 2 games against Northwestern. 12 catches for 189 yards, and against Maryland, 5 catches for 76 and a touchdown. They still got a ton of great weapons. Samaj Morgan, you have to respect. Donovan McCulley is a good enough wide receiver in his own right. And we all know about the tight end Max Bredesen there for Michigan as well. Those guys are going to be some very key playmakers in this game. So I don't think you can discount Michigan's wide receiver room really at all. I think they're a much better unit than people give them credit for. And this Buckeye secondary has got to be ready, because the thing, especially with Andrew Marsh, he's a 50-50 ball winner. Now, this is a secondary that's won the 50-50 balls for the most part this year as well. So that's going to be a very interesting battle. Tight ends, probably give it to Michigan just because of the usage rate, although I think nuCLEar is a better weapon than what anyone Michigan has. You can compare him to Max Bredesen, if you will. Offensive line, big concern for the Buckeyes here. That right guard position has been a revolving door. Who gets the start? Can they bolster it up? That'll be fascinating to see. We'll give the edge to Michigan for now, but I think at full strength, when they're playing their best football, these are 2 pretty comparable offensive lines. And it's an offensive line that, yeah, the run blocking scheme has been a little shaky. Same thing with the pass blocking scheme at times. They've kept Julian Saint clean all but 6 times this season. That is a mighty impressive number. When you flip it on over to the defensive side, the defense as a whole, you got to lean with the Buckeyes. And I think even if you break down the position groupings, you might go with Ohio State in every category, potentially except that defensive front, although the Buckeyes are much better at generating sacks. I had the number in front of me, 28 sacks for Michigan, 29 sacks for the Buckeyes, but the rate at which they're able to get them is much, much higher than the Wolverines. Here's the other thing that's going to come into a big play here. Both of these teams love to control the pace. They love to control the clock. Ohio State's held the ball an average of 33 minutes per game. Michigan for 30, but you know with that rushing attack, they're going to look to muck this thing up and control possession. Red zone. That's the big thing here. Buckeyes have only allowed opponents to get into the red zone, mind you, even get into the red zone 19 times. And they've only come away with 7 touchdowns.
And how many of those times that they got in the red zone were those toward the end of the game? Possibly not even against.
I know.
And you'd have
to the Buckeyes made one last year. Jack Sawyer with the pick at the goal line. While it didn't turn into anything, it could here with the way that this offense is able to move and motor. But here is the difference for me. The Buckeyes have all of this. I'm trying to find the right word for it. They just have all of this negative aura. They have all this negativity surrounding this game. I think rightfully so. A lot of Buckeye fans are coming into this game nervous, pent up. They're stressed. They're shaken. Their heart is beating fast. I will tell you this. This is a Ryan Day with a different look in his eye. This is an Ohio State coaching staff that feels different. It feels different. I know we say that about a lot of things, but this roster, Ryan Day, this coaching staff, this game feels different. I will tell you right now, though, if they drop this game, there will be no rebound. There will be no, hey, this is going to energize us to go on a big run. I just don't see that happening twice. The Buckeyes will win this game, and the difference will be in those playmakers. The difference will be in those cap buster plays. Who is better about slowing down the explosive play? It's been the Buckeyes all year long. I think it's going to continue to be the Buckeyes in this game. I'll tell you what, though, Michigan is not going to go away. And I think this, with the weather, with the way that I think both teams may want to play this game and controlling the clock, this is going to be a low-scoring, grinded-out fight. Turnovers are going to matter. The trenches are going to matter a whole lot. I think the Buckeyes do a better job at getting pressure on Bryce Underwood. I think Bo Jackson is a bigger problem than people think he will. And I think the Buckeyes win this game. Close. But I think Ohio State ends this losing streak, and they'll get back to Indianapolis.
All right. Now, I love the analysis, and I couldn't say it really any better than myself. And I wouldn't even I could be trying to be funny and say, not so fast, my friend, in the words of Lee Corso, but I won't. Honestly, Michigan has a lot to play for in this game.
They do. We haven't talked about it yet, but they do.
If they win, they will more likely than not be in position to get into the college football playoff. It's going to take some tiebreakers to reach the Big Ten championship. Let's say they win.
That could just be a hell of a conversation between all these two lost teams.
Right. So, but if they win this game, they are in. They are in the CFP. I don't see how they couldn't be with their two losses coming to USC and Oklahoma and defeating Ohio State. I couldn't see a way that they get held out unless it's just some wackadoodle thing scenario.
And if Michigan wins, Washington beats Oregon, Michigan could play for a Big Ten title.
Yeah, and you never would have thought that this season. You watch Michigan, it has been completely underwhelming. It has been underwhelming all year, and you're like, really? But they're there. They are right there. Credit where credit is due. And I hope also now this is a cleaner feeling Michigan team this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like there's nothing hanging over them. There's no black cloud of talking about Connor Stallions and spy, scouting violations and all that stuff. Hey, credit where credit is due. Obviously, I want Ohio State to win, and I'm pulling for them, and I think they're going to pull it out. I do believe they've got the talent, and they'll get it somehow, some way. But this is going to be nerve-wracking. I don't see this being a laugher. I have been stressed out, and I will be stressed out as this game comes on tomorrow. I haven't decided if I'm watching it with the mute button on. I haven't decided if I'm going to try and sync up Paul Keels. I don't know if I'm going to tune into Gus Johnson. I just don't know how I'm going to do it. Really trying to think long and hard about this. I'm probably overthinking it because I have no control over the outcome of this game. But it is going to be a knockdown, drag out fight is what I feel. And I think Ohio State's going to come out on top. But Buckeye fans, be ready for a brawl. Be ready for a brawl and a tough fight. Let me ask you one last question here before we go, Nate. If Ohio State wins tomorrow, do you think there's going to be any stupidity about trying to plant a flag at the 50-yard line, or are they going to be wise?
There are a couple people on this team that it wouldn't surprise me. I'm mainly looking at Iggy. That's my biggest concern is, first of all, he needs to play with oven mitts tomorrow, because if he doesn't, and there is some Stupid. I'm going to lose my mind. And you also forgot a watching option. That's close your eyes for 3.5 hours and pray to the Lord.
Oh, I like
That's
that one. That is a very
that's
good one.
that's a great watching option. If you've never tried it, well, I don't recommend it. It is an option out there. Okay.
Fair. I do think that's fair.
Now, that's not the way I will be watching the
Right.
game. By the way, I will be watching the game with pizza. It will either be happiness or I will drown my sorrows in food. So I I hope not. I mean, it's rivalry weekend. Stuff like that's going to happen. But last year it was ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Michigan fans were hawing at it. It's ridiculous that, cops got involved in the way that they did. And the whole thing was ridiculous. And it was bad. It was ridiculous and it was bad.
It was ridiculously bad, Nate.
Okay, well, just combine them. Sure.
Exactly. We'll use our journalistic and English skills here, but it was ridiculously bad. I don't know. Let's hope this thing is a good game. Let's hope Ohio State comes out on top. I think they should. But throw everything, like you said at the outset, when it comes to these types of things, these rivalries, you can throw the records out the window. And you know that, again, Michigan has a lot to play for. Ohio State, they certainly have a lot to play for, including pride. And let's hope that they find the motivation. So, Nate, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on all of the platforms, shows, social media, etc., because you are.
Sure. I am a busy man all the time, every day. Actually, just got back from my radio station. I work at VTech Communications in Bell Fountain, Ohio. We own 3 radio stations. You want to check anything out that I may write, that I may say on air, nothing bad ever, peakofohio.com. Otherwise, on YouTube at Tailgate Nate, we talk about stuff like this, college football, and actually working on changing my format a little bit before the playoffs get here, maybe before conference championship. Put less stress on me, get more content out for the viewers. That's been a struggle this year. Otherwise, at Tailgate829, Twitter, Instagram, wherever else you peruse the socials. Prospects of the Land, if you're a fan of Guardians baseball, get to know all the up-and-coming prospects. You can find us at Prospects, capital OTL, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on the Baseball Banter broadcast. New parent company. Thank you, Jeremy Lara Quente. Ethan, same thing to you. And one final thing, doesn't it just feel good that this is a high-profile game again?
Oh, absolutely. It definitely is. It's both great and nerve-wracking. I mean, it's good and bad at the same time, but I love it. I mean, the fact that these two teams are battling it out, and so much is on the line for both teams, not one or the other, but for both teams. And that just adds fuel to the fire and makes it an even better watch. I am definitely ready for this one tomorrow, but again, the nerves are there. So, Nate, I appreciate you taking the time this afternoon out of your very busy schedule. This is awesome. We'll be looking forward to we'll revisit this. We will revisit this and much more. It'll be good. It'll be good. All right, we're gonna be good here, Nate. We are gonna be good. So,
Zen mode. Zen.
Yes, the Zen.
Zen mode.
There it is. So, Nate,
my nerves will kick in at 11:59 a.m.
All right, that's fair enough. I hope you can sleep tonight. We got some Cavs basketball tonight. I'll be ready for that. Hopefully, they will come alive in Atlanta. We've got some good college football today. We got the nightcap, the Texas A&M, Georgia Tech, currently in a battle with Georgia driving at the Georgia Tech 7. Not a conference game, but you throw out all records there in that rivalry game. Georgia Tech needs a win. They could certainly use a big win here.
Well, they need a ton of help to get into the ACC title game.
They've kind of pooped themselves, haven't they now? And the Texas A&M Texas game, that'll be a good one as well. Texas with 3 losses, I think they're toast. I think they're burnt toast. So
with all the 2-loss teams that are in the conversation, probably now you look at if Michigan loses, if Vanderbilt loses, if Miami were to fall to Pitt, I mean, that's 3 spots that Texas jumps over. And then, you're talking about them against, a Bama team. If they fall to Auburn, the Texas is still alive. Okay, they need a lot of help, but they are still alive, and a win over A&M is going to do a lot for that committee.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of the same way of Michigan if they were to beat Ohio State and what it would do for them. So lots of great football coming up here this afternoon and this evening. Tomorrow, this whole weekend. What a great sports weekend. So if you're not out shopping, park your butt on the couch or recliner, wherever you enjoy watching all of your sports. So, Nate, again, thank you very much. Appreciate your time this
Yes,
afternoon.
sir.
And so for Nate Bope, I'm Ethan Greenberg, and you have been tuned in to Going nuCLEar, full-blown coverage of the land.